I'm here at UDS in Orlando, Florida, and I'm with the Debian project leader. Zach, can you introduce yourself to the viewers?
Yes, so I'm Stefano Zacchiroli. I'm a lecturer and researcher in computer science as my day job, and as a volunteer I've been working in Debian for the past 10 years, and for the past 2 years I've been serving as the leader of the project.
So, for those who may not understand the relationship between Ubuntu and Debian, can you briefly explain the significance of that relationship?
Okay, so from a technical point of view, we used to say that Ubuntu is a derivative distribution of Debian, in the sense that the packages which are shipped as part of Ubuntu are in large part coming from Debian. So about 3/4 of the whole of main and universe of Ubuntu are unmodified Debian packages, about 15% are modified Debian packages, and what remains are novel packages in Ubuntu that do not exist in Debian. So that's from a technical point of view. And from a, let's say, political point of view, we are trying to explain that we want all derivatives and all actors in free software which base their work on existing work act as good citizens. So we are trying to do that with our own upstream, so people developing software, for instance, and we are asking other distributions which are based on the work we do to do the same with us. And we think that's the best way to be, to make free software reach out to the vast possible number of users.
I know for me, as an end user of Ubuntu, you and I got a chance to talk in, I believe, Brussels, and
That's correct.
It was my first introduction to you, and you extended that welcome then to non-technical users. You said, we haven't figured it out yet, but we are going to open that up. Can you explain how people can get involved, both developers or those technical folks, and the non-developers or the non-technical people, where and how they can get involved in the Debian project?
Sure. Also, in the meantime, we did figure out, so thanks for the question. So the Debian project, so it started in 1993, and in 1997 created a constitution. So it's a sort of a society in which there are rules and there are also ways to become citizen of that society. For a long time, the only way one could become a member of that society was to become a Debian developer. So, and we interpreted that with the meaning of someone who creates packages for the Debian distribution. But we have clarified a little more than 1 year ago that all kind of contribution counts to become citizen of the Debian project. So you can become a Debian project member. Essentially, you need to show that you understand and believe in the ideals of the Debian project, which are essentially a commitment to free software, a commitment to transparency in the way we do Debian. So that's the first requirement. And in addition to that, any kind of sustained contribution to Debian counts to become a member of the project. So it can be writers working on newsletter of the project. It can be artists working on artworks for the project. It can be people organizing activities in the community. It can be anything, any kind of contribution that you have done in the past, that you can show you've done in the past, and that you are committed to do in the future. The only quirk is that we need some sort of thing which are, measurable, in the sense that we can say, yes, you keep on doing that, because the way Debian works is what we call a democracy. So the people who do some kind of job get to decide how to do that. And the requirement to that is being able to say, okay, you are doing this job or you are not doing that job.
I know the first time I heard the term voluntold and duocracy, George Castro had just met with you, and he came back and he said, Amber, I've got these great terms, and I have adopted those terms in almost every volunteer situation that I come across, because I think those really sum up how we operate in free software. When you come to UDS, what do you, on a personal level, get out of it, and what do you take back to the Debian project?
Okay, so on a personal level, that's probably that's a peculiar kind of conference. Actually, I don't feel it's really a conference. So for you people, it's a way to get work done, to take decision. And for me, it's quite novel with respect to Debian, because in Debian, most of the people are volunteers. So we cannot say, just meet at that place this time of the year and decide things there. We cannot, because people have day jobs and this kind of stuff. Well, for you, it's really a way to get together and decide, and that's been pretty interesting to know how this kind of event could work for me. So it's been very useful to know from a management point of view of how things can be done under your constraints, which are not necessarily our constraints. So what was the other point?
It was what do you take back to the Debian project?
So I came here to this UDS with essentially a message. So my first UDS has been 1.5 years ago, and essentially I was in a pretty tough spot back then because I came here to present to Ubuntu and to Canonical the problems that Debian was having in dealing with both Canonical and Ubuntu. And essentially the reason why I came here is to present what has been done in the past 1.5 years. There is good progress, and I've also made the point of what still needs to be fixed. And essentially I will go back with the message that people here are really open to listen to what we have to say, and I think this kind of dialogue is what makes things work properly in the long term.
I know your talk that you gave earlier this week was well received, and you're a welcome part in this community as well, and you've changed that face for a lot of people who maybe didn't understand that relationship, and you've done a lot of hard work there. So thank you on that front, and thank you on behalf of the user community to the Debian project. So you're doing a great job there as leading that project. Is there anything else about the Debian project that you'd like to talk about that I haven't asked you about?
Actually, just a message for the community of users, because you're right. So my greatest surprise 1.5 years when I first attended UDS was that people in the Ubuntu community, either volunteer or just user, did not realize that Debian was welcoming their contribution to Debian. So in fact, one of the reasons why there were, and there still are in part, bad feelings was that Debian was expecting contribution to come, and they were not coming. And on the other side, on Ubuntu, people had the impression that their contribution were not welcome to Debian. So I want to thank you, the enthusiasts as Ubuntu user or as volunteers of the Ubuntu project, which decided to come to us as well, and they started understanding that contributing to Debian is also a way to contribute to Ubuntu. So thank you all to the users, volunteers, and all the members of Ubuntu.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you so much for sitting down and talking to me and attending this UDS, and looking forward to 1204 cycle and beyond, and where this community can help with the Debian community, and where the Debian community can influence this community. So thank you so much.
Thank you.